Though already decades into its service, the Leonidas Class Battleship remains one of the newest designs in the United Nations Navy, introduced as part of a poorly funded and largely unsuccessful attempt to modernize the fleet before it began to fall into complete stagnancy. At a length of 270 meters, the Leonidas is very compact for a battleship, presenting a smaller target for hostile weapons during long-range engagements. Much of this advantage is lost, however, as a result of the ship's extremely slow rate of acceleration. This is a product of the vessel's outmoded S-250 series Epstein drives, a famously unreliable drive unit that was considered outdated even before the Leonidas was commissioned. The Leonidas class carries a standard crew complement of 920, in addition to an unusually large contingent of United Nations Marines. On paper, the weapons complement of the Leonidas class seems incredibly formidable, carrying a staggering 32 torpedo launchers supported by a pair of Dawson pattern medium railguns and a huge grid of 25 PDCs, only 10 fewer than the defense grid of the far larger Truman-class dreadnought. In reality, this arsenal is the result of low-quality targeting suites, both for the ship's torpedoes and PDCs, with the system's unreliable accuracy demanding a larger number of weapons to improve torpedo hit probability and point defense. In regard to the PDCs at least, this was something of an overcompensation, and the result is an extremely effective defense grid that makes the ship essentially unassailable by torpedoes. The huge number of weapons installed on the Leonidas drastically increase the ship's overall mass, and when combined with the vessel's low-quality drive units, they result in an extremely unfavorable thrust-to-mass ratio and maneuverability rating. This lack of agility has inspired certain naval personnel to mockingly nickname the vessels brick buckets or lead Leos. Like many ships of its era, the Leonidas class carries turreted railguns that cannot be rotated or otherwise articulated while the ship is under thrust. For this reason, the ship is often used to slowly strafe across an engagement zone on a single vector, before adjusting to perform another run. Some captains also choose to disregard evasive tactics entirely, and instead bring their vessels to a relative halt upon entering weapons range, using the ship's huge point defense grid to protect themselves as they adjust and fire their railguns. While the battleship's defense grid provides a highly reliable shield against missile weapons, the ship remains extremely vulnerable to railguns as a result of its poor maneuverability, and is essentially incapable of engaging any railgun-equipped warship without firing from far beyond effective range. Though the vessel was not designed as an assault ship, the unusually large cargo and shuttle bays of the Leonidas class have resulted in the vessel often being selected to serve as a troop deployment craft, with a number of additional modular barracks and mission operations centers being installed on a mission-specific basis. The 8 M-type APC skiffs carried aboard the vessel are substantially larger than conventional L-type dropships, and are able to deploy sizable boarding parties and ground excursion teams in short order. When pushed to maximum capacity, a Leonidas-class vessel can be loaded to carry hundreds of Marines, often exceeding the troop complement of certain purpose-built assault vessels. Though certainly an effective and reliable warship, the Leonidas Class Battleship is perhaps the greatest symbol of the UN Navy's decline into stagnancy. When compared to the cutting-edge Donager-class battleships of the Martian Congressional Republic, the Leonidas class is outmatched in almost every measurable sense, and serves to underline the UN's desperate need for a drastic modernization of their entire fleet.